me very close to maybe $5,000 to $10,000 tomorrow, simply for selling my opinion. That's what is called a knowledge-based economy. It is when you develop your mind, and you can sell your mind over and over again. Tomorrow, for most of you who have a part-time job, if you don't go and clock and punch a clock, you don't get paid. I will sleep, lay in the bed, turn on the TV, roll over, make a decision, decide whether to get up or go back to sleep, and then I will type an email, send it to the individual with my wiring instructions. Simple as that. Selling my mind, selling my opinion. And that's what you need to move to. And this is what the world has been moving to. This isn't something that's coming. This is something that's here. And the expression is, the future is not tomorrow. The future for you is now. Not tomorrow. The future for you is now. So what you have to do is an expression, a biblical expression, say what? And this is one of the things I wanted for you guys to understand. Every single one of you was born either a male or a female. And I would like to know, how many of you have ever seen a half-pregnant woman? A half-pregnant woman. How's that? Describe a half-pregnant woman for me. Yes. See? That's a very important point. Let me explain to you why. In your life, you must adopt something called the law of absolute. Either you are or you're not. There's no in between. That's why there's no such thing as darker than dark, or colder than cold. The word darkness is the complete absence of light. It's when you begin to take these so-called medium parts to say, halfway there, I'm almost ready, you're not. I want you to know, there's no difference from the guy that jumps 1 foot across a 10-foot ditch than the one that jumps 9.5 feet. There's no difference. They both fail. Second place is first loser. Straight up, that's it. You can dress up whatever you want. And see, this is what is called law of absolute. See, if you adopt the law of absolute, then you will actually remove the options of second, third, and fourth place from your life. And you will actually accept, I am actually pregnant with success, or I'm not. There's no in between. There's no half pregnant. You will begin to focus on what is called your work ethics, your study habits, all of these things. Because the only person you're cheating is yourself. If you're feeling a pain right now in your left shoulders and I ask you, how are you doing? And you say, I'm fine. I don't know any difference. So the only person you lie to is yourself. The worst thing that you can do is to be bankrupt of love for self. Worst thing it is. Because if you love yourself in the true definition of love, you will not put yourself in second place. You will not cheat yourself of the opportunity that's available to you. And this is where the whole concept of, but again, let me go back to what I told you about male and female. Every single one of you was born a male and female. And many of you, and I hope, maybe not in this room, but somewhere on this campus, will become 40, 50, and 60-year-old boys and girls. There's a biblical fact that says, age does not make you a man or a woman. It says, you become. It means to become. It says, as a child, I did childish things. As a man, I put away those childish things. You can, again, this is the law of absolute. You can't hold on to certain aspects and say that you are a man. You could be 30 years old and 40 years old and still be a male, a 40-year-old male, but you'll never be a man. You'll be a 35-year-old female, but you'll never be a woman. It's all based on your actions. The commitment that you make to put away those childish thinking, those childish thoughts, those childish excuses that you have. I mean, and I guess nowadays we don't use the dog eat it anymore. I guess the hard drive crashed, the flash lost, the email lost in cyberspace, those various different things. But what you have to do is to say, me, start with the person in the mirror. Not the person in the back, the person in the mirror. When you're standing face to face in the mirror, the one closest to you, start with that. Now let's get back to the knowledge-based economy. The knowledge-based economy results from a fuller recognition of the role of knowledge and technology in the economic growth. Knowledge as embodied in human beings, as human capital, and in technology has always been crucial to economic development. As it can be seen, the economic downturn in the world, as it can be seen, the economic downturn in the world economics has affected tourism, one of the three major pillars of our economy. This shows the need for us to embrace a new economic model for sustainability. For those of you who have the expectation of entering into tourism, banking, or financial services, I have an expression: wake up. It won't be there. If you plan on just saying, if you're planning on existing, we will have a space for you. But if you don't, if you're planning on moving into this knowledge-based economy, I suggest that you become aware, that you expand your knowledge base, expand whatever skills and services, research as to find out what the global thinks is. I'll expand further on it here. We need to consider that in the 21st century economy model that globalization is bringing about, that utilizes knowledge and maximizes technology to enhance and involves the Bahamian population fully in the employment opportunities and income generation activities that these model brings. Please do not confuse or combine the global economy with free trade agreements. Though they may be interconnected, they are not dependent. A lot of you may not have heard, I'm one of the advocates that was against the free trade. Not against it, I was one for the delaying of it, for us to begin the preparatory framework before we move into it. For the mere fact that I'm sitting in a room right now with maybe 20, 30 of you, and none of you know about it. Yet, within 4 years, you will be actually participating. In China today, there is over 200 million people with advanced degrees who you must compete with in 5 years in the global economy. You're sitting in here saying, I'm getting my AA in Bachelor of Science. There's 300 million people in China and India who will have masters and PhDs. 300 million, that's more than the entire population of the United States that you must compete with. You're not competing with your person sitting next to you. You're not competing with the ones who graduated a year or two before you, or the ones who will be graduating after. Within 5 years, you'll be entering into a global marketplace, and you'll be competing with the rest of the world. As much people enter the college in China today as our total population for the Bahamas. 300,000 people a year between China and India that enter seeking advanced degrees every year, expanding upon their knowledge base. So you can feel comfortable in saying, I'll just do just enough to get by. And when they come, and by the way, the income in India, I have, as an example, my company, Bahamas Digital Solutions. I have 17 individuals in India that work for me. I have 5 people in Australia and 4 people in Costa Rica that work for me. I've never seen, heard these people. We communicate strictly by internet. I tell them what I want done, they do it, I critique it, and back and forth. If I was to hire the 17 individuals that I hire in India, I probably couldn't get no more than 2, maybe 4 individuals in the Bahamas to work for the price that they worked for me for. So you could understand the perspective of moving into the global marketplace. If I was to hire a person here in the Bahamas to come up with a digital web page, they'd want to charge me $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. A guy in India charged me a flat rate of $200, and you'd spend a week there, a month, just defining it. But you'll come to me and you'll say, Mr. Johnson, look what I got from the College of the Bahamas. I demand $20,000. Well, I have 300 million people to choose from, and that's who you're competing with. Today's global economy is one in transition to a knowledge economy as the extension of the information society. This transition requires that the rules, practices that determine our success in the industrial economy, that's where most of you are still thinking of. The industrial economy needs rewriting in an interconnected, globalized economy. It's funny that so many of you embrace the digital age and then abandon it when you come to school. You go home, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all those different things, but you never think about incorporating it within a business model. There's people that make millions using things that you use for toys because you have not had that paradigm shift as to what you need to do for a knowledge-based economy. In a knowledge-based economy, in a knowledge-based and globalized economy where knowledge resources such as know-how, listen to this carefully, where know-how